Hello folks, welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII-2. I am your guide, Fuzzfinger, and today we are going to be going to Serendipity to collect a wild artifact and some fragments. But before we do that, I do apologise. In the last video, Academia, I somehow edited out the collection of a wild artifact. Now it is very important to get this, so that's why I'm including it here. I did record the footage as I said, but for some reason it didn't end up in the final edit. So if you go to the very southeast area, the very southeast point in Grand Avenue, and just at this point here you can see on my mini map, you can see the wild artifact. You'll need to use your Moogle Hunt to reveal it. There we go. And there we have it. There are a few more chests as well scattered around here that I didn't put in the video as well that you might want to collect while you're around here. See, if you're going for the 100% achievement, you've probably already got that wild artifact anyway since you'd have come across it. But I've put it in there in case you're not. We do need to get another wild artifact, as I said, from Serendipity. So we're going to start by preparing our Chocobo for the Chocobo races. Many of the fragments, or the rest of the fragments in Serendipity, are really optional, and they are quite hard to get. Now, since I'm making the guide, I do make the effort to get all of them. You don't have to, or you can leave it until later. It's entirely up to you. Obviously, the first fragment's easy to get. We've already collected it earlier. To get it, if you haven't, then you just go into the where you register for your Chocobo, for the Chocobo races, and to the west hand side there's a small little Chocobo chick on the table. Just speak to him or interact with him and you get the fragment. And there's 4 more fragments to collect, which we're going to work through now. If you're not interested in collecting the fragments and you only want the wild artifacts from here, then you don't need to worry about the Chocobo. Just bring 100,000 gold with you and you can actually basically buy the wild artifacts. But for the rest of us who want to collect the fragments as well, we need to prepare our silver Chocobo for racing. So first of all you need to level it to 45, that's important. Basically its strength and magic stat transfer over into speed and stamina. And the closer you get to 800 the better, because at 800 it's classed as an A rating for speed and A rating for stamina, depending on what you have, strength and magic. So we need to get to level 45. It's not too hard to level. It took me about an hour's farming in the Arcalite steppes. What is annoying is the monster infusion. Monster abilities that you give your Chocobo transfer over into special abilities you can use while it's racing. For instance, you're going to want to infuse it with a level 1 Pulse Gladiator. You can find the Pulse Gladiator on the Arcalite Steppe in cloudy conditions, and that will give it the second wind trait, which will basically improve your sprint ability. You also want to infuse it with a level 1 Cactuar. Or, yeah, Cactuar, that's it. I keep saying Cactus, but it's Cactuar in Final Fantasy, isn't it? You want to infuse it with a level 1 Cactuar, since this will give you it'll give you a sprint ability, basically, which will mean you will find it very hard to lose. Now, with that said, finding a level 1 Cactuar in order to infuse it into the Chocobo is a difficult task. You'll get them in sunny conditions on the Arcalite Steppe, in the Plains of Eternity. Anywhere in the Plains of Eternity they can spawn, but unfortunately they're very rare. And don't confuse it with the flowering Cactuar, which also appears in the same place. They're not the same monster. It's the Cactuar you want, not the flowering Cactuar. Anyway, so you want to infuse it with a level 1 Pulse Work Gladiator, or Pulse Gladiator, and level 1 Cactuar, and you should have a Microchew from all your farming. You can collect these on the in the marshes area of the Arcalite Steppe, and you want to level a Microchew to level 24 and infuse that into your silver Chocobo for the Marathoneer and the Health Nut abilities. There are other abilities as well you can infuse, but these are the essential ones, and they're the only ones I bothered with. So once you've infused all of them, your Chocobo will be ready, and then it's time to start your racing. So the way this works is you need to buy the fragments and the wild artifact for 10,000 casino coins each. There's 3 fragments, and obviously the wild artifacts makes 40,000 coins, so that's what we need to collect. Now you can transfer your gil into casino coins at a rate of 10 gil to 1 coin. So if you hand in 10,000 gil, you get 1,000 casino coins. The best way to collect your casino coins though is through the Chocobo racing, which is what we're doing. At the end you can bet on your Chocobo to collect winnings, and you also get prize money for every race you win. And on top of that, some races reward you with items like the collector's catalogue, and the Hermes sandals, which both sell for 11k gil, which of course translates into 1100 casino coins. So that's basically the way it works. Now for racing, there are 5 race classes, from easy to hard. They go from easy to hard, sorry, and you have to complete them in order. You have to beat 1 race in each class to move on to the next, and I'll just tell you what they're called. From easiest to hardest, they are the Cocoon class, then Monster class, then Weapon class, then Guardian class, and finally the hardest is the Fal'Cie class. Now your Chocobo will have something called race points, and it should start at 600 points, and every time you race they are reduced. When they reach 0, you cannot race that Chocobo anymore. Now you might worry and think, oh, but I've spent so much money and time investing in this Chocobo. You can actually deregister the Chocobo at any point and then register it again, and it resets all its race points, and you don't lose any of its attributes. The only downside is that you do have to work your way back up the classes again, but that should only be 4 races anyway. So at the minute, as you can see, I'm going through the first class, which is the Cocoon class, and my Chocobo's flashed there. That's because it has the sprint ability, which we infused it. It depletes the boost gauge. The boost gauge is at half the normal rate, so make sure you save that until your Chocobo flashes at the end. As you can see, that was pretty much a formality. There was nothing challenging about it, and you collect your rewards at the end.
Congratulations!
We can now enter races in the second class, so you can tell we're moving up the ranks. Now, when you actually choose a race, you can choose the tactics that you want your Chocobo to use, because you don't actually control your Chocobo apart from choosing its sprint. And basically, depending on what abilities you've infused in your Chocobo, should really dictate what tactics are used. Because we're using Blue Streak and Second Wind in our Chocobo, the tactic we need to be using is the back of the pack. And as you can see on these little diagrams that they've given us, it's the one with the Chocobo set, the yellow Chocobo head on the final of the 4 grey pictures. Because we have these abilities on our Chocobo as well, if you can get the timing right, just as the countdown finishes, if you press X, you'll actually get a sprint at the start. Your Chocobo will flash like we saw it did at the end of the other race, and you get ahead of the pack. It is very hard and the timing is spot on. You have to press the action button just as the countdown finishes and the Chocobos leave. And then don't deplete your boost gauge at all while you're racing. Save it until the very end, since it will go down very quickly if you use it at this point. Wait till your Chocobo's flashing with the blue streak ability, and then you can engage the boost gauge and only lose it at half speed, so you get to use it for longer basically. There's 3 types of races: 600 metres, 1200 and 1800. It's up to you which ones you do. You don't get any more prize money for doing the longer races, but it depends what reward you get. You might want to do them. What item reward? So this is a 1200 race. The aim, of course, is to get to the Fal'Cie class, which is where you want to start collecting Hermes sandals and the item collector. Sorry, I beg your pardon, the collector's catalogue. Like I mentioned, they each sell for 11k, which transfers into 1,100 casino points. And as you need 40,000, you definitely want to be working towards that. If you're not interested in the Chocobo races at all for whatever reason, then you can just buy the wild artifacts by turning 100,000 gil into 10,000 casino coins. I'm just going to skip ahead now to the Fal'Cie class, so you can see how a race will be in that. A little bit more challenging. When you place the bets on your Chocobo, just keep an eye out for a star next to one of the other Chocobos, because that means that they're very good, so you might have more of a challenge. But you can still beat them quite easily, as long as you're concentrating. So when you select your FL class race, the first thing you want to do is have a look if there's any rewards of Collector's Catalogue or Hermes Sandals, since they're basically 1100 coins extra when you sell them, which isn't bad at all. So we'll set our bet for 100 as usual, and we'll do the race. So just to confirm as well, in case it wasn't clear, what you bet and the winnings you receive from winning a bet is different to your prize money. So your prize money for a FLC class usually ranges from about 320 casino coins to 480. That is different to what you win from betting. You can also bet on other Chocobos as well. So if you think your Chocobo's not going to win, place a bet on the next best option as well. So you'll still get something. You won't get any prize money, but you won't come away empty-handed either. Now your Chocobo can change condition between races, but because of the abilities we've infused it with, it can't drop below average condition. So it can't go to poor condition, and as you see, we've just obliterated this FLC race. So there's no problems there at all. So now I can collect my winnings, 480 prize money and 220 for the bet, and a ring as well, which I can sell and turn that into casino coins. So we're starting to get on our way to 40,000, which is what we need. So when you've collected a whole lot of coins, you can come and exchange them for prizes, and there's 3 fragments we can buy along with the wild artifact. Now as I said, you want to prioritise the wild artifact since that unlocks a new gate to a new area. And here is the vendor, the casino vendor. She's just on the other side of where you register your Chocobo. So I'm going to use my 112 gil to buy some more coins. So I've got 31,000 coins there. These 3 orange items that are in orange text are basically the fragments. If you're going to get the fragments, make sure you start by getting the Chaos Crystal after the wild artifact, since you can hand that in to Hope in Academia. You remember he gave that little speech, and he'll give you a weapon for it, a powerful weapon as well, based on its power is based on how many fragments you have. At 160 fragments, there's nothing to match it. So I still need to buy one more fragment, and this is the last fragment that we buy with our casino coins. Although there is still one more fragment to get, and for it we have to use the slot machine. So I'm just going to talk you through that momentarily. And now if you want to get your final fragment, you need to collect about 16,000 casino coins. If you've got that many casino coins, I can actually explain a little trick to you, so that you can pretty much automate how you get the fragment. To get the fragment, you have to collect 7,777 casino coins through the slot machines over any number of sessions, but you can do it in one session, and I'll show you how. So first things first, we're going to head on over to the gambling rooms. When you leave the Chocobo races, just head to the building on the other side. Now unfortunately, the gambling machines have they have moods. So you need to make sure it's in the better mood, because the better the mood, the more you win. And as I said, we've got to win just shy of 8,000 casino points, which will take a few hours, but we'll automate it so it won't be a problem. Now speak to this lady to find out what mood the machine is in. She has to say it's like a hot summer's day. If she doesn't say that, just leave the casino and then run back in. So just go straight back in once you've come out, and then speak to the same NPC once again, and hopefully, yes, there it is, that's the one we want. Now we can go back to the machine, since we now have the best odds. So now here's the trick. You don't need to view the tutorial. Instead, and I'm going to give you the PlayStation control since that's what I'm playing on. I'm sure your Xbox users can figure it out. Well, it actually tells you on the screen what to press. You want to press the automated lever, which is L1 on the PlayStation, and you just want to wedge it against something, the controller, so that it plays the game for you. Once you've wedged it against something in your house so that it's not changing, then you can come back in a few hours and hopefully you'll have the fragments. It's as simple as that. It'll take a little longer than if you was playing manually. When you leave it on automatic, your odds are a little bit worse than when you play it properly. But it works, and that's what I did, and I got the fragments, so that's what you should do too. Now, it took me about 3.5 hours to get the coins that I needed for the fragments, so I didn't actually catch it on video, but I'm just going to skip ahead to show you what it is. So we'll just open the menu up here and choose fragments, and then go to locations. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can select Serendipity, and there we have all 5 fragments. The one we just collected was the Lucky Coin fragments. There's no more to collect in this area. We are done, that is it. And another 4 fragments added to the collection. Well, 5 if you include the one we collected much earlier on, the Chocobo chick. But yes, we are done in Serendipity. You can do more Chocobo races if you want to farm for more gil by selling the collector's catalogues. Otherwise, that is it. So thank you very much. I've been Fuzzfinger. I'll see you next time.